This show is sponsored by PowerfulWomenUSA.com. Hey everybody, I'm Jill Conway and this is Secrets of Powerful Women, a show dedicated to celebrating and supporting strong and successful women and sharing their stories. I'm hoping you will be inspired to pursue your own dreams, reclaim your voice, and discover your strengths. So my guest today is Uma Subramanian. I hope I said that right. Did I, Uma?
Yes.
Subramanian, and she is the founder of Limitless Leaders and a leadership coach for women in tech. So Uma, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much, Jill. Yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So it's an honor to have you. So I wanted to talk first because you've been a woman in tech. You worked for Microsoft for 20 years, and now you're coaching. You're coaching people in tech. So first off, let's start with about you. Where did you go to school? What did you study? And how did you even get in the tech field?
Yeah. So I started, did my schooling in New Delhi in India. And interestingly, I did chemistry honors. So I did a bachelor's in chemistry.
That's hard.
And on the side, along with my bachelor's, I did a 3-year diploma program in computer science and programming. And when I came out of that, long story short, in 2001, I landed at Microsoft as a programmer writer, which is writing code and writing technical documentation all put together in one role, and helping developers build applications on top of Microsoft platforms. So that's what I came out to do. So I moved from New Delhi to Seattle in 2001 and started my life here.
Wow. And you did that for 20 years.
I did that for 20 years and 20 years at Microsoft. Then I joined a tech startup, ended that in 1 year. That's a story. And then started Limitless Leaders, which is what I do now, which is, I've been doing this for a few years now.
I think there's a lot that I've been reading. I don't know much about the tech, field industry. I can say that. And I admire anyone and who knows how to code. I mean, to me, it's just ones and zeros. So I have no idea anything about it. But from, what I've learned is that, burnout is so rampant in the tech industry. And I feel like you are trying to help women and tech leaders stay in the industry. So tell me what you experienced in that. I mean, is that why you kind of left at that point, or what were you experiencing? It's hard to operate at that level constantly.
Yeah. So I didn't leave the startup because of burnout, although I have experienced, I am someone that loves work. I've loved my work from day one. And I would, take on so many projects, initiatives. So I was always overworked, but I think I never felt like I was burnt out because I loved everything I did. Although there is this moment when my 8-year-old daughter, this was during COVID, I was sitting on my couch on a Saturday afternoon doing office work. And my daughter comes to me and says, "Mom, I'll give you $50 if you would come and spend time with me and put away that laptop." And that kind of broke my heart. I think that's a new way of living, I guess, that I started from that moment. And I think I've been very aware of how I'm spending time, knowing that, yes, of course, I love work, but cannot put in, all my time into that. There are also other, things that are important. So I think that's, again, it's been a journey. I've learned, learned that through the months and years that have happened since then. But I would say burnout personally for me has never been an issue, although I have had, experienced intense periods of work. And then I would, realize, okay, I need to slow down a little bit. And I've slowed down. Sometimes, health gives me little warnings to slow down. So those types of things have happened. But that's not the reason I started the company. The reason I started Limitless Leaders was when I realized, there are great leaders that elevate people, and then there are poor leaders that who will diminish people. And I left the startup with a situation like that, where I felt disrespected and diminished in a meeting. And so after I left, I decided I will, use my voice and time to help others realize their full limitless potential in leadership. And that's how I ended up starting the company.
Mm. Well, can you dive deeper into that? I mean, what happened that because this happens a lot to a lot of women and men in different fields where they're, and I've certainly had bosses where they're not people, they're just not people loving people. So, and not everyone knows how to treat other people and certainly get what they need to get out of it in the workforce. So, can you go into a little deeper what happened to you?
Sure. So I was at this startup, and doing really well. I went there to head developer community. We launched the community, and we had developers joining from all over the world. And I was promoted to senior director in 5 months and given another business group to lead. So I was heading two business groups.
Wow.
And I thought I was
Wow.
at the peak, like, having a blast. Our team was excellent. We had global team. This was all during COVID as well. But then we had a management change, and I started directly reporting to the chief executive of the company, which also I thought would be great. I thought this is good. But unfortunately, I think within 3 weeks of that change, I found myself in this meeting where this leader just was relentlessly questioning me. Kind of any answer I would give was not enough that day. And before the meeting ended, I had made up my mind that I would resign.
Good
And
for you.
that's what I did. Before the next business day, I ended up resigning. um, Long story short, I mean, after the after the last day of the job, he apologized, and I stayed there for 1 month to help with the um,
Oh, that was
transition, and
nice.
then yes.
That was nice of you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then I ended up, thinking, okay, what do I do next? And thankfully for me, I've done years of inner work, Jill. Just worked on myself. I found Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill when I as a teenager, changed my
Good
life.
book.
So long, yes.
Mhm.
So long story short, I had um, arrived at a point when this incident happened. I was so ready for it and prepared that it didn't, you know, um, I think deter me so much from anything that was critical. I was able to immediately adapt and realize that, hey, if this is happening, this must be happening because I'm ready for the next big thing. And um, one day I was going on a walk, and this whole idea came in front of me and flashed through me, and I realized I've always been limitless. No one's been able to stop me from doing things or achieving things. If I set my mind to something, I will achieve it. And so I said, this is what I want to help others achieve too, and came back and started Limitless Leaders.
Oh my gosh, I love it. First of all, I when I spoke to you before the show and when we first connected, and I said, I love it. I love that the idea came to you on a walk because I feel like the best ideas come to us either in the shower,
Yes.
right? Or doing some sort of exercise or just whatever the time you carve out for yourself, that quiet time where you're alone with your thoughts and you get these ideas. And I was just telling someone about the idea for this show when it first started as a radio show. And it came to me after meditation. Like I don't even want to lie and say, "Oh yeah, I was just," no, like just like you said, it came to me in the spiritual way where it was like, here's what you need to do. Here's what you should be doing.
Beautiful.
So I love
Mhm.
that. So so you had this idea and then did you go about like, how do I start this? Because like, what did you do to start it?
So I'm a crazy obsessive learner. so so immediately my thing was I literally came back. I took my dog for a walk. And even the name Limitless Leaders came to me in that walk. So
I
I
love it.
walk back. I tell my husband who's working from home, "Hey, I'm starting Limitless Leaders." I didn't even know the domain name was available, like nothing. But I just told him, and he in his MBA style, he interrogated me, saying, "Oh, who will be your clients, and what will be the business model, and this and that, whatever." And of course, I blabbered something in that, but I went to my computer, and I think I just started thinking about, okay, how is it that I can make this happen. I signed up for I very quickly I found multiple things. I found a great program that was a leadership certification coach certification program through Maxwell Leadership. So I went and signed up for that. My own leadership coach, John, who was my leadership coach for years, he pulled me into, when I told him this idea, he pulled me into a different opportunity where I could, practice being a coach because I had never formally coached before. So he gave me an opportunity right away, a year-long program that I could participate in. So yeah, many things just fell into place. And then on the business side, I have zero business background. So someone else suggested an organization, a national organization, which I'm forgetting the name, starts with S. They actually help new business owners, small business owners with business guidance. And they have mentors that will mentor you. So someone told me about that. So I went and joined that program, got a mentor. Everything happened very quickly.
Wow.
And so I had this business mentor, and I was able to attend a lot of workshops on how to start a business and things like that. So yeah, it was just I started off with some of those initial steps, and then found a business coach, business and marketing coach. And then she advised me to launch a pilot program right away. So ended up launching a pilot, and we had 15 women. We had actually more women expressing interest, but we took 15 of those women and launched the pilot program within 3 months or so. So
Wow.
yeah.
Isn't that fantastic? So what exactly do you teach then? What do you teach these? Oh, who are your clients?
Sure. So I started off with women, but now actually I cater to all genders. So I have male and female clients. These are high achieving tech professionals and related fields. I do have some professionals from non-tech, but usually the challenges are the same. And
Mhm.
so they are coming. They're usually mid-career professionals who are looking to rise up in their leadership. So they're looking for, crisp communication, strategic thinking, building a personal, like a leadership brand within their company, getting themselves known. So it's those types of, how building relationships, healthy relationships, and getting stakeholder buy-in. So, so people come in for these few different challenges and goals, and generally they are looking to rise up and get to the next level. When they come in, I have a program where I'm able to help them with whether it's how to really help build influence, or how do you speak in a way that you communicate your value, right, and not just talk about what you've done or the task. So it's those things that we are not officially taught in any program. Like, that's what I think. It's These are simple things, but
Right.
it's usually not taught to not taught in a lot of settings. So that's what I do. So I teach strategic thinking, communication, public speaking, storytelling, building a personal brand, and how to really build successful relationships at work. So you have allies, you have a good support system at work.
What's the biggest struggle that tech professionals face when they're trying to grow as a leader? Like, what's one of the toughest?
I think one is time. Like that's the first thing that comes up is everyone is so overwhelmed.
Mm,
And it happened to me as well when my kids were younger, and I was a manager at that time at Microsoft. Was the craziest time. I think I had just, absolutely no time for anything. I think that's one of the biggest challenges. And then I found a coach. His name is Demir Bentley. He's a productivity coach. And I joined his program and learned some tools and techniques for how to really live in a way that, I'm doing the things that are very strategic, that really matter to me, and not figuring out a way to eliminate everything else from my plate. That changed my life. So I actually now kind of, and I've lived that now for at least 10 years. So I teach that to my clients. And that's one of the first things we do when we work together. One of the first things we do is how to really, help them free up their plate so they have time for more meaningful strategic things at work as well as in life, and so that they can work on the other things. So that's one of the first things we work on. I would say that's time is the biggest challenge. And then of course, um, right now with what's happening with tech, there's so much change with AI and layoffs and all these things that are happening. Everyone's having to adapt so much and evolve. How do you stand out in that? I mean, that's, I think, another challenge. So everyone's top of mind right now is how do I stand out and make my value known? So that's what, I really focus on. So clients that come to me, the biggest thing that they get is in every different possible way, we make sure that they stand out and their value is really clear. And, um, they are like in demand, basically.
mm. What's one way people can stand out? Because as you said, there's a lot of movement going on in the tech field right now. What's one way that you can tell listeners, if you and it's not just tech, but to really stand out?
Um, so I think the way you communicate, storytelling, communicating your value, you can stand out that way. You can stand out by also doing big, bold things. I think that's also a great way to stand out. The LinkedIn presence is another thing that is really becoming crucial now because your hiring managers, recruiters are going to LinkedIn and starting from there. So we also look at, okay, how can you stand out with your LinkedIn profile, with your resume? So that's also something we pay attention to. Most of my clients, when they come to me, they start posting on LinkedIn. They are, their profile is solid, and so we make sure of that. So I would say for your audience, depending on, picking one of these pillars and working on that so that
Mm,
there are 100 people with the same title, same role.
yeah.
How, what are you uniquely bringing, or how are you uniquely different from everyone else, and kind of making that clear. So
I
um
feel like that's the hardest thing for anyone to do is what makes me different? How do I stand out? That's hard.
yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially I feel like, because do you also help people who have lost their jobs, maybe like pivot and and try to find the next one?
Yeah, I wasn't like, that was not how I had envisioned, like, but I think because of the way the industry is right now, many of my clients either lost their job during the last 2 years while they were working with me, or they have lost their job and they're like, okay, I have time now, let me work on my leadership skills and build my leadership brand. And so they come to me, but they're also looking for a job. So I ended up developing my expertise in that space just because I saw all of my clients, or most of my clients, needing that guidance. So yes, now I do help my clients really, stand out on LinkedIn, create a compelling resume, prepare for interviews, and use storytelling as the foundation and stand out right from that first answer that they speak at. So yeah, that's
That
something
oh my gosh, that's so needed. That's so needed. What, let me ask you this. What do you think you talk about work-life balance a lot, right? So what is the secret to, getting ahead? And I think you said without working harder, without sacrificing anything. So is there a secret that we don't know? Because that's hard to do.
So it's getting really, really clear about what truly matters to you. I think that's the secret. So one of the first things that we do is get very clear about like your 3-year vision, right? Like 3 years, where do you see yourself? And then we work backwards from there and get to like this year, this quarter, this month, this week.
Ooh,
And because we get super clear on what is important to us, we can then say no to all the other things that don't align with that. And we ruthlessly say no to many of those things, or we either say no or we delegate or find a way to outsource. I am someone that, I mean, I learned this, as I said, I went to this boot camp. I mean, I was, even before that, I think I was okay with asking for help. Like I had no shame asking for
mhm.
help and getting
Oh,
help from others. But after the boot camp, I know I took it to many levels. Basically the biggest shift I had after the boot camp that I attended, the productivity boot camp, Jill, was I would generally not do anything that someone else can do. So I only do things that only I can do, or I mean, only I need to do.
wow. That's
Yes.
something
So
to
that,
learn,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's risky, I mean, or when I say risky, what do I mean, not risky in the sense, I mean, it takes a courage to be able to do that because you have to let go of everything else and give it to someone else, or get rid of those things. It needs courage, but I've figured out, and I'm totally okay with that. And because of that, my energy, like I conserve my energy, my time, only for the things that only I can do. And this applies to my business, this applies to work, chores, like everything.
Wow.
So
So the control freaks, the type A personalities that have a hard time delegating, they're the client that you that, should be seeking you out, right? Because they don't wanna give up control, and sometimes I do the same thing where I'm like, "Well," you say, "Well, they're not gonna do it like I'm gonna do it, so I'll do it." But gosh, it's
so
such a yeah,
yeah.
tough
So
one.
again, something interesting I want to add to that is, so you can still have control on the things that are truly like important to you.
Yeah.
Just let go of the control on the things that are not that important. And so that's what I would say. That's the clarification I would give, is just be okay with little less quality, or slowness in the things that are not that important, but you can still, the things that truly matter to you, like I have full control over the things that truly matter to me. And I do those. And even if I get help, like I know what's going on, I have control, I can get it to my level of quality in those areas. But in other areas, I'm totally okay
Mm.
letting go and living with less optimal results.
So it's like you lock in, right? You lock in and focus is really what you're saying,
Yes.
everything else falls
Laser
to the
focused. Yes, it's laser focused. You've heard about the 80-20 rule, the Pareto's principle.
Oh, tell me
Um,
about it for everyone who hasn't. What is that?
oh, so yeah, so there is a very popular principle called 80-20 rule. It's also called Pareto's principle. I think that's the name of the person that came up with the principle, I think. The 80-20 rule, what it says is, let's say last week I did 100 things. Okay. Now, only 20% of that 800 things I did brought me 80% of the result. And the other 80 things I did only will bring me 20% result. This is proven. It's like it applies to everything in life. This 80-20 rule, it's been proven, and it's kind of generally applies to everything in life. Okay. So what I realized, I mean, when I started, like when I did the boot camp, even the thing that I learned was hey, there's, if you look at, last week, what you did, there's probably only 20% of the things that brought you the maximum results. So only focus on those.
Mm.
And I was doing that for a long time. Like that's how I started working. So I would only focus on the things that are bringing me the maximum results and let go of the things or outsource or find a way to get some of those other things done by different ways. And the interesting thing is, once I started my business, I actually started playing with just doing the top 5%, like not even the 20 things, but just the top 5% of the things that that are bringing me the maximum results, and get rid of the 95%. Either automate, delegate, outsource, or just completely, not do it or postpone it.
Right.
And the interesting thing is, once I started making that move or change to 5% only, my goodness, I have more time, I have more freedom, I have more energy, and the results are unbelievable because these are so strategic. Like I have to think, like I need to really be thoughtful, like reflecting on what are the, if I'm going to do only two things or three things, what are those three things? And I focus and I put my, all my energy into it. And I'm seeing unbelievable amount of results. Like for example, this year, I told myself, like not planned, but just suddenly impulse decision, I decided to write a book. So I decided, okay, it's going to be the book. It's going to be podcasts because I want to, start one, improving my own like speaking and communication skills so I can, be a better speaker, because that's a lifelong skill. I have learned that speaking is the best skill that you can learn. So this podcast was one for me, sharing my message, but also helping me develop my skill. And so I said book, podcasts, and then, what I have to do for the business, like the bare minimum, for the delivery, for while supporting my clients. And that's it. So I'm like kind of emptied everything else from my plate, from my calendar. There are so many other things I could be doing. Like last year, the year before, we experimented with different products, different offers, different kind of marketing, right? Like there's so many other millions of ways I could be marketing, but we kind of said, nope, this is it. These are the two things, and just kind of, freed up my time for those things. And I'm seeing like the amount of flexibility I have, the clarity I have, the progress we have made in these things. I just finished my manuscript, first draft of the book, and so just being able to get things done, that are truly important to me right now. Like that's just happening with just the 5%. So my advice now to my clients and to anyone, listening to this podcast is just find out what your top 5% that's bringing the maximum results for you, and find a way to get rid of all the other 95%.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love that. Oh my God. All right. So I'm gonna stop you there. I mean, this is obviously your favorite podcast, right, Uma?
Yes,
Obviously.
definitely.
I
Yes.
mean, right? Okay. There is so much. All right, we're going to take a quick break. There's so much more we have to talk about. My guest will be back with Uma Subramanian after the commercial break. You're listening to The Secrets of Powerful Women. We're going to talk when we come back. First of all, I want to know the name of that book and that you're working on. More on the Think and Grow Rich that you read, because I love, one of my favorite books, and your work-life balance and how to achieve that. So we'll be back. Stay with us. Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Conway. If you love what you're listening to, please like and subscribe to my channel on whatever podcast platform you listen to, and on YouTube, so I can keep bringing you these amazing women and sharing their stories. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you love it as much as I do. Okay, everybody, welcome back. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Uma Subramanian is with me. She's the founder of Limitless Leaders and a leadership coach for women and men in tech. So we left talking about what we're going to talk about in this segment, which busyness, and how I think all of us can get caught up in the busy work in a job. And you were saying that you have to focus in. and let the busyness, all the nonsense and crap kind of fall to the side. So, that's a difficult task for a lot of people because maybe they can't identify the things that is the top things they should be doing, right?
Right. And so that's where, getting clear about the vision. So one of the exercises that I do with my clients is make them write their 3-year vision. At different times, I've asked them to write a 10-year vision, 5-year vision, all that, but at least a 3-year vision, because 3 years is a totally achievable goal. You can see it. It's not that far out. And so thinking about, how do you see yourself in 3 years? What's happening? Like we actually envision a day 3 years from now, and ask them to visualize it and write it. And when they do that, and then there's a series of exercises we do from that kind of then distills what they should be doing this year, this quarter, and every week. Kind of when they start doing that, and it's just a technique they learn, and then they I teach pre-planning, is part of the teaching. So every week before the week starts, they are looking at their vision, they are looking at their goals, and they are planning what does success look like this week for me, and what can I really accomplish in all of those elements that I have identified as important to me. What should I be focused on? And so kind of really helps them define what can be accomplished in that week, pre-plan their week. So Monday morning, when they start the work day, they're already, they know what needs to happen. And so they can clear out all the other things that come up. I mean, of course, we all have emergencies. We have these sudden meetings that you're pulled into, but with the pre-planning, with the kind of mindset that they have because of all the work they have done, they're actually better equipped to handle these situations and the obstacles.
Mhm. And I think what makes this so interesting is that you say write it down. Is that critical to write it down?
Oh, 100%. Yes. Yeah. Write it down, or like on the computer, or typing, like doesn't, I mean, or writing on a notebook, like doesn't matter. But yes, they have, I mean, it all has to be somewhere solidified so they can, refer back to it, all of that for sure.
Mm.
Because the thing is, it's not even the time, Jill, it's our cognitive load, like our brain power, that is the most constrained resource. So
Mm.
we want to protect, not, I mean, in fact, I don't teach my clients to protect time. I teach them to protect the cognitive overload and the power, the energy levels. That's the one that, we focus more on. So we don't want to keep anything in our heads. Like we want to download it. We want to keep our brain free to do creative work, and to be available for the more meaningful kind of work, the deep work that we can do. So, yes, nothing stays in your head. Like you download everything so that you're always, in your A game, and, with full energy, being able to jump into different things. I have now gotten into a kind of a rhythm where I can, have a podcast recording. Next, like minute, I can go and, do deep work and write a chapter of my book, then like come back and immediately jump in and have a coaching session with the client. I'm able to like switch, like I don't multitask. That's not recommended. Like I don't like multitasking. That's not helpful. But I can go from one thing to another and do different kinds of deep work and be fully present in those moments, because I don't keep so much in my head. It's like free.
Right.
I keep it pretty light, and even if I get something, like I'll figure out a way to offload it. Even if there is, something, a difficult thing that happened, or I'm trouble with something, I'll go, figure out a way to talk to a family member or a friend, and even offload it. But I generally don't like to keep anything in my head.
Well, you also talk about, and you said in your business, helping people achieve work-life balance.
Mhm.
So, which is part of that, I think, right? So is that what you mean? Like you kind of have to keep them separate, but that's hard to do, especially like you said, you have kids and how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't separate it. Actually, when I help them with these, productivity, peak performance kind of this whole system, when I teach them, I call it the 10x your result system. They're actually planning their entire day. So includes your family responsibilities, personal things, self-care, all of that. So so when we do the vision, when we plan out and identify areas that are important to me, um, we are looking at all of the life domains. So if spirituality is important to me in this season, if self-care and health is more important to me in this season, then I will prioritize it, make sure that when I'm planning my week, I'm blocking time for those things first. So that's how the whole model is. It's definitely not just looking at work and planning for work. It's
Mhm.
looking at your life as a whole and your vision of what you would ideal vision of where you would like to be, and then thinking this week, if I want my vision in to happen in 3 years, what should I be doing this week and next week and so on.
Mhm. So what about you say coaching, the way you coach is that you blend mindset and strategy.
Mhm.
How do you do that? I love this, by the way. I mean, this is like this is everything I love. Go ahead.
So, I mean, let's take communication, for example. I can teach the strategy, which is how do you kick off a meeting powerfully? How do you introduce yourself in a meeting powerfully? I can teach those techniques. But if I don't teach the mindset part, what happens is there's so many things that are holding us back, and we don't end up, applying those strategies in a powerful way. So I realized that teaching the mindset as well as the strategies kind of together. So the mindset piece is, hey, I had that. Like I used to have a belief that I'm not a good communicator. And so I carried that for years. And so I had to work on myself on that belief first with my coach and get around that, and just accept me as, I mean, even now, the way I am, I now at least, it's not blocking me, and I think, I'm not beating myself, listening to me, listening to the podcast and thinking, oh, Uma, you sound horrible, or you're not, a good communicator. I got rid of those beliefs, and I'm okay with who I am and how I communicate now. And so that's the kind of work that I do with my clients to make sure that they're okay with, they believe in themselves, they like themselves, and they like the way they communicate, they like their strengths, they are, also comfortable with their weaknesses. And as a whole person, then they can, go to the meeting, show up powerfully, and then use the technique or the strategy and kick off that meeting powerfully, end that meeting powerfully. So that's why, I see that the mixing of the mindset with the strategy seems to help.
Well, it's like what you said before, like you have to find out what makes you you. And then when you realize that Uma is the only person who can be Uma, right? Jill's the only person who can be Jill. And when you stop
Exactly.
wanting to be someone else and you just show up
Exactly.
as yourself, I mean,
Yeah,
it's limitless, you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
totally.
Yeah, I love it. So, let's talk about Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill because I think I told you when we were talking, yapping on the phone that I was like, I'm in it. I'm in the middle of it. And but it goes back to, I mean, this book was everyone needs to read this book, right? I actually gift it to people when they graduate high school and college because I think it's that important. And you read it young too because it's it was written over 100 years ago, right? And all the greats, all the people who really changed our world, Carnegie and all these people who have really, made um, significant advancements in our world are quoted in it and have read it and used it. So what did you get out of it? Because I think it's almost like true. It's like watch what you say, right? Like I always tell my kids, watch what comes out of your mouth because you're prophesizing your future. What did you
So
get
for
from
me,
it?
Yeah, so I think for me, it was at that time realizing that success is not something that's limited to a few people, like, or a certain background or certain kind of um, role or anything like that. Like, that
Mm,
was the biggest lesson for me. I realized that we can create success with our thoughts. Like, it's totally in our control, and we have the power to shape our life, to create, however we want our journey to be like. So I think that's what I took away. And I'm so grateful I found that book that early. And so throughout my career, my life, that's kind of been the operating principle for me. I always knew that, like, I have to shape it and I can shape it.
mm,
So I evolved my career life, made choices, in that way. And I would say that's kind of the biggest takeaway for me from that book, is
mm,
realizing that we can shape our destiny with our minds. And it's not necessarily, I mean, yes, of course, the external influences are there, but in spite of, no matter what happens, we can still, you know, figure out a way. And ultimately, it's the control is with us.
mm. I think it's the most important lesson of a lifetime is when you realize, and I've kind of come to this conclusion the last few years, that your thoughts become things.
Hmm.
And if you really, and I know people are gonna be like, "Oh gosh." No, it's almost like, when you have, one of those days and you're like, "This is the worst day. Could anything go wrong?" Anything or more go wrong. And then everything else just starts coming to you that's going wrong, right? So, I do believe that the law of attraction is a very real thing, and that our thoughts can make a great day, can make us have an awful day, and if we just can wrap ourselves around this and do little tests of it, where you test that theory,
Yeah.
it's astounding. It's astounding, right? So
Yeah.
I do think it's probably one of the best books to read ever. And part of the premise is too, like, so let's say you want to have a big career, you want to have a big business, you have to write it down, envision what that looks like, and then feel. That's a big one. Feel what that would look like. So, what does your day feel like, right? Like, and
Yeah.
I think it's so incredible. What would success feel like to you? If you want a loving relationship, what is a loving relationship to you? How would it make you feel? And start by doing that. So, I absolutely love, 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 love. And I love that you read it too. So I do want to talk about some other things. First of all, the book. Do you have a title for the book yet?
So the working title is The Sought After Leader.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
It's working, so it could change, right?
It could, yes, yeah. So I'm in a pretty early stage. I just finished the first draft of the manuscript. The book is only expected to come out in May of 2026. So all
Okay, you
like
got
10
time.
months.
You got
Yes,
time.
yeah. So we will most likely the title will remain the same, but if the editorial team suggests something different, we'll see.
I wanted to ask you before you go, because we're getting to the end here. Key steps to build a brand as a leader. So you don't have to give away the store here, but like, what's a one or two that you would say critical steps to build a brand like that?
So I think you really need to get clear about what you want to be known for. What are you known for? What do you want to be known for? And kind of get crystal clear on that. And then once you get clear on that, identify some stories that kind of demonstrate who you are, and then start sharing your stories. I mean, that's pretty much what I started doing when I started the business. I just started telling my story, and then that's kind of how my brand started. And so that's what comes to mind to me, is get clear about who you are, what do you want to be known for, and then have some stories and start sharing.
And then people can relate because you're not here, you're not alone in what you've been through, right? And I think that's the community that you build and everyone realizes this. I love it.
Exactly.
One other thing, because I think this is important too. Part of your coaching, you talk about emotional intelligence and how important it is and how it can be developed. So can anyone work on their emotional intelligence, or how, easy is it?
Of course, yeah, anyone can develop emotional intelligence. So are you familiar with the four styles like of DISC or anything similar?
No, tell us.
Like the personality styles. So there is so a popular like personality style framework called DISC. And in that there are, it kind of classifies people into four dominant styles, DISC. So D is dominating type of people, I is influencing, so people that are really good with people, and S is steady, reliable, those team players kind of people, like very steady folks. And then the C is people that are creative, compliant, and perfectionists, like very high standards. So that, and then you can have combination of those styles, of course. So those are the four primary styles, and then you can have the combinations. So I am an ISD, for example. So I'm an influencing style with S and D. So I'm an ISD. So people can be any combination of these styles. The reason I'm saying this is, so if you know your style, you kind of, all the I's are already very influencing, so they are very people focused. The S's are people focused as well. So the I's and S's are usually, you can assume that they are very good with people, and on the emotional intelligence front as well. But if you take the C's and the D's, they are very task oriented people. And so generally, even with my clients, like I see with my C's and D's, sometimes the D's are very, dominating, very goal oriented. So they want to get things done and they're more focused on the goal, not so much on the people. So of course they need a little bit of guidance to, realize that, okay, yes, I am, the goals are important, but I need people to achieve them. And it's okay to go a little bit slow to take the people and make sure that we're achieving the goal with them. So that's kind of the shift that we work on. With the C's as well, sometimes that's the challenge. C's also, they have super high expectations and they're very task oriented. So again, helping the C's realize that, hey, we need people, and kind of creating that balance, and then teaching them how to listen and show empathy and show genuine care. That's kind of the work that sometimes is needed. But usually what I see is, once people are aware of their styles and their blind spots, and just self-awareness is the first step. Like once they know that, they are able to usually then try and experiment with little things and expand themselves and grow themselves that way.
I love it. I'm going to end with this question. Well, almost end with this question because I find it interesting. So, Uma, where do you see yourself in the next 3 to 5 years?
I
I
see.
turned it around to you, right?
So I see myself as having this business like Limitless Leaders be a global brand, and helping lots of people all around the tech industry plus other related industries, and making a huge impact. And also, my son's going to college this year, and I have
Big.
my daughter going to high school. So I think in 3 years, yeah, I think, just having more time, more freedom, more, a lot of travel with my husband and kids, like all of that would be great. So that's kind of how I see myself.
Oh, I love that. Me too. I see that in me too. Just and take time to enjoy life,
Mhm.
right?
Yes. Oh, yeah,
That's
of course. Yes.
yeah. And I feel like that's what you're ultimately teaching people too, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah. That's why I said, like, we start with the vision, and the vision is unique to every single one of my clients that has done the exercise. Their vision is theirs. It's very different, and All of them have, many different, very interesting things in them. So, yeah, that's the beauty of the life we are living. Each one
Oh,
of
I
us
love it.
has our own. Yes.
So, Uma, where can people get a hold of you if they want to work with you?
I think LinkedIn is the best place. Uma Subramanian, Limitless. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm usually nowadays posting every day. So now that my book manuscript is done, so people can find me on LinkedIn, and we can happy to hop on a call or have a conversation there.
Do you also have a website yet or no? Limitless
Yes.
Leaders? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's the Limitless Leaders. I couldn't get the domain Limitless Leaders, so it's thelimitlessleaders.com. But we do have a website as well.
Oh, how fantastic. All right. All right. So that is it for us. A big thank you to Uma Subramanian. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing your incredible story, Uma.
Thank you so much. I absolutely enjoyed it, and thank you for giving me this opportunity, Jill.
Oh, you're so welcome. I enjoyed it too. I feel like we're going to be friends forever. So I do, as I mentioned to you, and to the people on the podcast, I'm starting a speaker series, and the first one is going to be on perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. And I'm gathering all these experts. But what I've done is I'm creating a series, and one of them is about entrepreneurs, and another one's going to be about mindset and mastering your mindset. So, Uma, I would love to have you as one of the expert speakers if you'd want to. So we're going to stay connected.
Awesome. Yeah, looking forward to that.
Oh my God, awesome. All right. So thank you again. Thank you for listening, everybody. I'm Jill Conway. Thanks for listening to the show celebrating incredible women. I hope you are inspired to pursue your own goals, believe in yourself, and dream bigger. Your voice matters, and your story can help others. I hope you join me next time and share this podcast with a friend. Thanks, everybody.